Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a second chance. My name is Phil Jones.
And I'm Tafaro Cook, two-time kidney transplant recipient and founder of Kidney Care Coaches, where we coach people with stage 3 to stage 5 kidney disease. If you or you know someone who has kidney disease and needs coaching on their challenges, hit us up at kidneycarecoaches.com.
So today we have a really interesting show for you guys today. Two good friends of ours that we've been collaborating with, talking with in the kidney community for a while now. They just started their own collaboration together called Kidney Conversations, which we'll get to a little later on in the show. But we just want to kind of start off with your story connection to kidney disease and kind of what made you start being a advocate for the community. So first, we'll have Jonathan Traylor go ahead and start.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing today? My name's Jonathan Traylor. I'm a 1 year and a half kidney transplant recipient who back in July of 2019 I experienced an emergency kidney failure and crashed into dialysis due to uncontrolled diabetes and hypertension. And it was a real traumatic event that totally changed my life, my whole course of life. The way that I think, the way that I carry myself, the way that I now eat, and I now follow a really strict exercise regimen and things like that. So had a lot of things that were missing in my life before kidney failure that I never really was mindful about and didn't really pay attention to because I thought I was just kind of a big and strong guy and gonna live forever type mentality. And boy, was I wrong. That lifestyle of just not being mindful and accountable for my life choices, such as dietary choices and lack of exercise, landed me flat on my back in an emergency kidney failure. And just moments from death, I made it to the hospital, and they were able to give me life-saving dialysis treatment. And I stayed about 2 weeks in the hospital after that, and left there and did in-center dialysis, hemodialysis, for about 10 months. And then I eventually progressed to home hemodialysis for around 3 or 4 months. And then after we learned all of that, I finally got a call from a friend that we had known and grown up with that their family member was passing away, and they wanted to direct donate me their family member's kidney. And it was a really bittersweet situation for me because I had grown up with this person and known this family for a long time, but it was a really sweet situation because I really needed the kidney. And so, like my mentor told me, he said, you know what? This kidney that's going to be offered to you is going to go to somebody. So you might as well be you because they're offering it to you. So I took that kidney, and here I am, a year and a half later, and I'm thriving with this kidney and doing really well. My labs just did my labs like last week and got the results, and everything's really stable, and I'm doing really well, man. I'm just rocking life with one kidney. So I decided, Philip, after and Tafaro, I decided, since I had survived my near-death experience with kidney failure, that I wanted to do more and be a part of the kidney community in some way, and give back. And so I had been on some other shows, other podcasts, such as, just like your show, the Warriors Quest show with Jared Brown. Steve Belcher had me on the Urban Health Outreach Media channel. Kent Bressler had me on his podcast as well, Kent's Kidney Stories podcast. So um, those kind of shows kind of gave me an idea of what I wanted to do, and I kind of liked podcasting. So I decided that I would turn. I had a kidney page called Hope for Jonathan, and turned it into Hope with Jonathan. And I thought about changing the name, but after I had that name for a while, just decided, no, that name's gonna stick. That's just Hope with Jonathan, and here we are, man. A little over a year later, and I'm still doing interviews and things like that. And I've met some really awesome individuals, such as you guys, Philip and Tafaro. I've met Kyle from Toronto, Canada. I mean, if you had told me years ago that I'd meet people from different countries, I've met Dee Moore. You guys had her on your show as well. She's from England, and so I've met some incredible people, man. Some incredible advocates, and we've interviewed some incredible patients, such as like Thelma Warner and Shane Blanchard, and different warriors that we've had on our show that have some really incredible stories with battling obstacles and adversities and kidney disease. And a lot of the patients on my show are still in need of a kidney, but we have had a few that have came on the show and gotten their kidney, whether that was by way of like a deceased donor kidney, or I think we've had one that actually listened to the podcast and actually stepped forth for an individual, which was really incredible. And we just on our show, man, we give glory where glory's due, and we give God all the glory, because we know ultimately, God is the one that speaks to people's heart to want to become a donor. I really feel that. So I believe that it's a divine intervention when someone wants to step up and be a donor for someone. That's that person listening to the voice of God. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come on your show and share today. And I thank you guys again for what you guys are doing in the community. You're doing impactful stuff. So it's really awesome to see you guys continue to grow. And I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks again.
Jonathan, man, I've known you for a while now, and your story is remarkable, and what you do is remarkable. And with Hope with Jonathan, and I watch it and I support it to the fullest, man. But let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back. What was
Sure.
your first experience like when you knew like you might not have known you had kidney disease, but
Mm-hmm.
what was the first thing, like, okay, I wasn't feeling right, something wasn't going right? What was your very first one?
Well, for years, so far off and on, I was having urinary tract infections, and I had a really bad one, probably about a year and a half before I went into full kidney failure.
Mm,
I was urinating just straight blood, like just urinating straight blood, and went to the emergency room, and they said it was a urinary tract infection that had just gotten really severe. And they went in and they actually did a test, and they did tell me that one of my kidneys was not functioning quite right, but the other one was functioning fine, and that I would be just fine like that. So that was kind of a light bulb moment. But it's crazy. They never really mentioned, Mr. Traylor, you have kidney disease and stuff
right,
like that. They just really
right.
didn't go into depth with it. And then they, sent me home. And of course, years ago, Tafara had a little bit of education on diabetes and hypertension, but it was kind of like one of these deals where they hand you a pamphlet and say, here's a pamphlet and you got diabetes, but they didn't really expand on the effects of diabetes and kidney disease and dialysis and things like that. So there was kind of a lack of education, but I would say that the light bulb moments for me were the extreme swelling that I was experiencing. The urinary tract infections, the extreme swelling. Man, I couldn't even put on my shoes. Like I was having to have help
Wow.
to put my shoes on. I had what was called, and you guys may laugh at this, but it was called cankles,
Yeah, yeah,
literally.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I've had them
and
before too because of the same situation.
yeah. So
But like,
the extreme swelling. Yeah.
right. Did you know earlier that you had diabetes, or was you just, I
Yeah,
mean,
I had
how
battled
long ago?
diabetes for a while. Yeah,
How
for
long? What was
probably
the
probably since I was around 30 years old. So I'm 44 now, but when this was going on, I was 41. So I had known for probably around maybe 10 years that I had diabetes. But like I said, it was just when I would go to the doctors and stuff, they was like, well, here's your medication. But I mean, they just really didn't talk a lot about this is what can really happen to you. You can
right, right,
experience
right,
kidney
right,
disease
right.
and dialysis. I mean, I didn't know anything about dialysis until I woke up on a machine. So,
Yeah,
it
and that's
was.
where I have a challenge with. I think if they told people what's the repercussions of what can happen with diabetes out of control, high
Hmm.
blood pressure out of control,
Hmm.
we don't want to paint a gloom picture, but we would definitely want to tell them that hey, this is what you can look forward to if you don't control what's going on right.
No,
And I
I
agree.
completely agree. I almost wonder if they should take patients on tours of dialysis centers and say, this
Wow.
is what could happen to you. I mean, kind of like where they take these young kids that are
Yeah,
like
scared straight.
at risk type of
Mhm.
children on tours of prisons and jails and stuff to give them an eye opening experience. I think if we could maybe take people to dialysis centers and hospitals and stuff and let them see, it may wake some people up. So.
Right, right.
Yeah, I think
Um,
that when it comes to that, it looks like they're just kind of sweeping people under the rug, and I think that's something that needs to be said from the very beginning because, as we all know, when you have a problem, 9 times out of 10 there is some kind of consequence that follows that problem. So it needs to be that sit down moment, like, hey, you're dealing with diabetes, you're dealing with high blood pressure, you're dealing with this, or your family, you have family history, CKD, or whatever the case may be. This is what can come after this. If one, we can't get it, kind of slow it down, or or whatever the case may be, put you in a healthier position, not to have to worry about it. So it needs to be something that's communicated with the physician and the patient from the very beginning. You don't wait until the last second when somebody's urinating blood or anything, or get into that situation where they end up, like Jonathan. I'm sorry you had to go through that experience to figure out what you know now, as opposed
Hmm.
to them just telling you in the beginning, like, hey, let's change some things. You change a little bit, in your health or whatever the case may be, because you
Yeah.
deal with XYZ,
Yeah.
because these things can lead to kidney failure. So the
Absolutely.
conversation thing needs to change with physicians and patients. So
Oh yeah, and I mean prevention is huge, and that's why we do what we do and talk about these type of things. Because look, if we can just reach one person, I feel like we've done our job. We want to reach more, but if we can just reach someone today, or any other time, and come across these podcasts where we're sharing these type of this type of information, not to try to scare people, but we want to touch their heart and their mind and say, hey, this can happen. This can happen to you. I'm the only one in my family. I have many family members that had diabetes. Okay, grandparents, parents on both sides. That had diabetes and hypertension, but I'm the only one that experienced kidney failure from that. So, I definitely am always getting on my family members' nerves because I'm always talking about it with them. With other family members, like, hey, be mindful of your sugars and and get that lab work done because the
right.
lab work is going to help you out. It's going to tell you where you're at. So
Right. That's awesome, man. Your story is phenomenal, Kyle. Let's hear what you got to say, Kyle. Let's tell us about your story and everything. Yeah.
I just feel now after Jonathan's story, my story is not going to be that important.
It's always important, believe it.
everybody's story is important, no matter what kind of connection or whatever. Everybody's story is important.
Um,
absolutely.
first of all, thank you for having me today and giving me a chance to share my story. Um, so my name's Kyle Hockridge from Toronto, Canada, and I bring a different aspect to the panel here. I don't have kidney disease. I'm a kidney caregiver. My wife has kidney disease. She suffers from polycystic kidney disease, and she's on dialysis awaiting transplant. So my view is a little bit different from the caregiver side, from the partner side. And so we watched her. I knew nothing of polycystic kidney disease or kidney disease in itself until I met my wife, and her mom suffered from polycystic kidney disease and sadly lost her battle. But we watched her go through on dialysis, on PD, So I have the experience. We had a little bit of eye-opening experience of what was to come, but deep down inside, you never thought, yeah, she has PKD, but it's not going to happen. She'll never hit dialysis. She'll be fine. But then reality struck, and she had a stroke in June, I think, of 2019, and was on dialysis in September. So just that quickly, they said that the area the stroke hit caused the kidneys to fail. We don't know for sure, but they think the stroke was the cause of that. So taking care of her, I had a great mentor. My father-in-law taking care of my mother-in-law was a great mentor of mine. He doesn't realize it. I've told him, but I don't think he still realizes how to, when they say we sign up for these relationships. When I signed up in sickness and in health, I'm here.
Good.
And,
Respect
I
that.
help with appointments. I help with setting up the dialysis machine because now she's at home. Um, just doing, we have two small children. So, well, not small, one's a teenager, one's 9. So helping out there wherever I can and continuing to work. But our story leads into, we started KWM, which was a place for kidney warriors. It's Kidney Warrior merch, and we started it as a merchandise place for people to come and buy Kidney Warrior merchandise. But we realized that we can't take from the community and not give back to the community. So we shut it all down and then restarted it. And we have our Warriors Wall, which is a place for kidney warriors to tell their story and search for living donor or someone like Jonathan just to tell his story of transplant and raise awareness that way. We have a memorial wall on Kidney Warrior merch on KWM to remember those warriors that have lost their battle and gone before us. So to keep their memory alive. So we started all these things, and then we collaborate with Jonathan and others. So just trying to give back to the kidney community.
I respect that, man. That's wonderful. And another thing I respect is the caregiver's position. People don't understand the support you need when your loved one is going through something like that. And for you, Kyle, to be there and supporting her, cheering her on and being there, like you said, setting up the dialysis machine, making sure she's eating right, and giving her that small little encouragement because when you're going through these challenging times, at times we want to give up. So I know with you there and the kids and everything supporting her, and that's big. And hats off to your father-in-law too, because you watched him and he was a good supporter in what he did for your mother-in-law, and you just emulated him and he was a good support, even though he might not realize it. But he was on his toes doing what he had to do for his wife. And I respect the sickness and health. That's how it goes. I'm almost 11 years into my marriage, so I understand that. But let me ask you a question real quick. What does your normal day look like when you're taking care of your wife?
Okay, so I get up in the morning and she's still on the machine most mornings when we leave. I pack up the lunches for the kids, and I still work full time.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I drop the kids to school, and then I head on my day at work. And so coming off the machine, she's kind of doing that part on her own. Um, any appointments or anything, if I can get the time off, I take the time off, and if not,
Mhm.
my father-in-law is still a kidney caregiver, and he's there to. He's retired, so he's helping my wife out. And coming home, my wife usually has dinner prepared. Um, it's usually late evening, and we have a son who's in a high level of soccer. So a lot of times I'm
Okay.
back out the door again at,
Right.
to the training fields. And then when we come home, I set her up. She'll tell me the prescription she needs with the PD. Yellow bag, green bag.
Right.
She lets me know throughout the day what's happened, and I set it up and get her going on the machine. And then it's just like repeat,
Right. Right.
rinse and
Right.
repeat. So
I got.
it's a
I
busy
got you.
time. It is
Right.
it is busy, but this is what we have to do, and we make it work.
And see, what's amazing is, life still goes on. Your son has to have support with he's, playing soccer. I'm pretty sure your daughter might be into something. You have to work. And so, this is what people a lot of times see is they think life stops. Life still goes on. You still have bills. The kids still have to get to places. You still have to make lunches and things like that.
Yeah.
And I give Kyle a lot of love. Just propelling the family on to doing the things he has to do for his wife and
Yeah.
the father-in-law. Man, I'm giving a lot of love to that. Let me ask you
Yeah.
another question. Since I know it, I know a lot about polycystic kidney disease and it does run in the family. Has there anybody else has been diagnosed with it, and have your kids gotten checked for it?
Um, so that's a question that's been asked. Yes, polycystic kidney disease is genetic. So Shannon, my wife Shannon, knows that she has two brothers. They know for sure one brother has polycystic kidneys. The other one is afraid to go get checked, so it's unsure if he has it or not.
Mm.
And for our kids, we had some issues when my son was being born. They tried to take samples, but they weren't testing in Canada. They were sending the blood down to Buffalo, New York,
Mhm.
and twice they got lost.
Mm.
So
Mm.
they couldn't find them. We don't know where they are. We don't have the results. So in the end, it was, okay, we're not even going to get them tested. Um, this disease runs deep in Shannon's family on her mother's side. Um, when it came to having children, it, I don't even think at that point we really understood that 50% chance they could get it and 50% chance they couldn't. And if they do have it, right now with science and technology, we can't change it. We can't change the outcome. The only thing we can do is monitor watch them, monitor them, and any signs or symptoms, we're educated now to say, okay, you know what? Let's lower your protein. Let's put you more vegetarian.
Right.
Let's no more dark colas. Stick to the Sprite. If you have to have it, you should be drinking water anyways. But so we know these things, and in a way, it comes as a parent to say, do we tell them? Well, you know what? My son's at a high level. My son's hoping to go into the NCAA from Canada.
Oh,
That's what
nice.
he's working towards right now. So if we had told him if he has it or not, I want him to live his best life because we never know when our life will end. The good Lord could call us at any time. So
Yeah.
do we want to burden him with I have this problem? No, you know what? If we do find out, we find out, but we can't change anything right now. So even having children, some people are like, well, if you have that, you know what? I wouldn't change a thing with my kids. I love them to death and they're my world. So, but let's give them the best life they can have, even with the time that's given.
Right. I respect
Kyle,
that.
let me ask you a question. Separating what you were just talking about with having the conversation with your son, right? Do they understand exactly what mom is going through at the time? Like, and the reason why I asked that and why it's important to me is because even with me being sick when I was younger, I had to help my parents take care of my grandfather his last 3, 4 years here on earth, and while he was sick, hospice and all this other stuff. So, I understand because in the beginning I didn't really understand it either because I'm going to football practice, I'm going to track practice, I'm going to this, I'm doing that. So I'm not around enough to hear really kind of what's going on. Did you have you just because I know you said I believe your daughter is a teenager. Have you had that conversation with either of them, the younger one as well, about exactly kind of what mom is
Yes.
through health wise and things of that nature?
So my son, when he was growing up, my mother-in-law took care of him after school and before school for us. So he saw dialysis firsthand. He knew what it was. He experienced it with her. when it comes to his mom, I kind of see where he's like, we were like, oh, do you want to see mom's machine or whatever? He goes, I already know all about it. So he's but if mom has an issue, he's there helping her. He knows what, he's 16, he's in there. He will be hands on, but he tries to kind of push it out. I think he does. My daughter, on the other hand, at 9 years old, she helps me set up the machine. She likes pressing the button. We get her all
She
cleaned
likes
up,
the
and
buttons.
yeah, she likes coming in, and she likes breaking the bags, even though sometimes it's a little tough on her. So she's hands on. She's mama's nurse. She's in there all the time, helping her out. So they do have an understanding of what's going on. How clear that is unsure, but they know, mom needs a kidney, and we're looking for this, and they know that. With my daughter, it's a little bit harder. Being younger, we would say, okay, you know what, let's go to the park tomorrow. Okay, it's not tomorrow, it's Canada, it's full of snow in the summertime. But mom might not feel well when she comes off the machine, so we have to change that plan. So we find things, and she's understanding, and she a little hurt, but she gets it, and we find something else fun to do that would be on mom's level. So speaking to them, yeah, they're educated. They have an idea of what's going on, and my son has seen his grandmother and now his mother firsthand.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because hopefully it's never happened. But if you're the one that's kind of helping her, with getting on the machine and things of that nature, God forbid, might be a point in time where, you're sick, you're dealing with a cold, a small cold or something like that. You can't be in that area where her stuff is, So, if they know kind of what even the basics stuff, keep the hands clean, hit this button once, hit this button twice, or whatever like that, just to keep her, being able to, be on the machine and do what she has to do, that can be very helpful. It's not to say, you know, for a whole 3 weeks, like, hey, just go in there and put mama on and do it yourself. No, it's just, it's a good way to kind of have a backup plan in those situations. But I'm hurry to go to a commercial real quick. I know Tafaro got like 18 more questions to go, so I ain't gonna hold him up much longer. And so we'll be right back in 1 second. Hit this button.
Okay, we are back. Jonathan, sorry, this is one question I want to get to Cal, then I'm gonna get to Jonathan. And like Phil says, I do be questioning you guys a lot. So, um, Kyle, what information would you give people who are caregivers? Because we don't see that aspect a lot, and that's why we're really fortunate to have you on the show because there's a lot of caregivers that listen, and I want you to address them as far as what would you recommend and what do you tell caregivers?
Oh man, that's a tough question for me. You know, being a caregiver is not easy, but being a kidney patient's even harder. Not even just maybe kidney patients, a cancer patient. In all aspects of chronic disease, being a caregiver it's tough. And you know, the only thing that I would recommend is listen to your warrior, listen to your patient. You have to. Things don't always go as planned, and we we just do our best. But I say that we say the term kidney warrior, and I say I'm the shield of the warrior. So
I like that. I like that.
I'm her shield in her battle. I'm her shield. So as a caregiver, I have to educate myself. I have to understand her appointments. I have to understand her disease, all the aspects of taking care of her from the home aspect. They're secondary. When she has an appointment and the doctor says something, she may not be in the right mindset. I need to know. I need to know the questions to ask. I have to be her voice when she can't be her voice. So a lot of times, with what we're doing here and what you guys are doing, I'm listening, I'm watching because I want to know the info as well. So as her shield, as a warrior shield, I that would be my biggest recommendation. Listen to your patient and be as educated about their disease as much as you possibly can so you can be their voice when they can't speak. I mean, God forbid, something happens and she really can't speak.
Mhm.
At least now I'm educated to say no, no, no. I mean, just one prime example, when she was doing hemodialysis, she got a lot of pain. They said, okay, we're sending you to the emergency room. And I said, no, you don't need to because she blew a cyst. One of her cysts broke. And they were like, no, they didn't know. And sure enough, the nephrologist checked her out, and guess what happened? A cyst broke. So like, had I only because I had the education and I knew
Right.
I almost have to know her body as well as she knows her body. What can she handle? What can't she handle? Um, I mean, there's times that I just want to take the kidneys out and give them to me and let her have the good life. Let me suffer. So I can't donate to her. And I can't donate to anyone at this current time due to my own reasons, but not for not wanting to. I just
Sure.
medically I can't. So it's tough. And but also take time for you. You need to take your own time to step away, go for a walk, do something that you enjoy. You need that time to yourself. You can't be a good caregiver if you're just as sick as they are, running
I agree.
yourself down. You need that time. You need to relax. You need to have your own mental moments as well.
Right, because you definitely have to recharge also because you're constantly giving. So
Yeah.
that's definitely true, man. I respect what you're doing, and that's awesome. Jonathan, this goes to you right here. This question is can you go into detail about the lifestyle changes you did, like what you did before and now what you do for with the transplant?
Absolutely, Tafaro. Also, first of all, I just want to say I don't know how to follow up after a caregiver's story. I mean, he was talking about my story, but caregivers are heroes, man. And my wife, Shout out to my wife, Melissa, man. She was there for me 100% the whole way. And she was my caregiver, care partner. And man, she was there whenever I went through, kidney failure, all the way supported me through dialysis. She was even early on, she was coming to me with every treatment in center. She would sit there for 4 hours. After about 3 or 4 weeks, I finally told my wife, I said, babe, you don't have to come every time because,
Right.
it's 4 hours in here. But, and then she was willing to step up and help me as well with my home hemodialysis. And so caregivers, man, and care partners are heroes, and they're amazing people, have a very giving heart. And if I had any advice for anybody out there about that, I would just say that to be patient with your patient. Because sometimes the patients are going through a lot, and so sometimes patients can really help out when definitely with being a caregiver. But shout out to Kyle, man. I've known Kyle a
Yeah.
little over a year now, and everything that he's saying, he's not making any of this stuff up. Kyle's a really genuine individual, and I've seen it firsthand of what he's doing with Shannon and his kids, and he's not only a heck of a caregiver, but he's a great father as well. So shout out to Kyle.
Thank you.
But some of the changes, back to your question, some of the changes that I made mainly are being mindful of what I'm doing, and mindful of what I'm eating. I try to abstain for as much fast food as possible. That's not to say that I don't indulge occasionally into something, but even then, I'm being mindful of my choices. I do not eat French fries at all anymore, or anything like that. If I can swap my French fries for a salad or something like that, if I do end up at a like a fast food restaurant, I'm not trying to drop any names. We'll take any sponsorships, but like if I go to Chick-fil-A, I go to Chick-fil-A. I'll get a grilled chicken sandwich there. I stay away from the fried stuff. I get a grilled chicken sandwich, and I'll opt, instead of fries, I'll get a salad. And so those are some changes that I've been just making from over time. And if you told me years ago that I would be eating salads and grilled chicken, I probably would have slapped you right in the face. For real, no, for real, because I was so hooked on fried foods and greasy cheeseburgers and pizzas. I'm not saying occasionally that you can't have those kind of foods, but you have to be mindful and realize that those are not everyday choices. And so, like last night, I had grilled chicken here and veggies, and that's what we ate for dinner. We had seasoned grilled chicken with some veggies, and these are the type of changes that I made. And then the exercise routine, I started walking. And I remember, when I started walking, my goal was to hit like a half a mile. And then I remember when I finally accomplished that, and I thought I was doing something. And then I remember when I finally was able to walk 1 mile, and I thought, man, I'm really doing something here. And you know what? You have to celebrate the small victories,
Right.
And so I was happy to meet those goals. And I'm laughing at that because now I look back and I realize that now I'm able to do like 3 or 4 miles, even 5 miles sometimes if I want to. And so I've come a long way, and looking back at those moments, I'm realizing that I've come a long way. But a lot of people are hard on themselves and think that they can't do it, or they'll never reach a mile. And I was one of those persons too. I wasn't very optimistic. I was negative. I had a negative mindset when I first started. I thought, you know what, I'll probably never get there. I'll never get to a point where I could walk I don't see how in the world I could ever walk 2 or 3 miles. And then here I am now. I can do 2 or 3 miles, no problem. And I'm in the gym now too. I'm lifting weights. I'm working on toning up my body from all the years of just having, being overweight and things like that. So my son says now that I'm suffering with like body dysmorphia because I look at myself in the mirror and I don't look like the guy on the GQ magazine. Okay. I want to get there, but I'm not trying to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or any of these guys, or Ronnie Coleman or any of these big guys, but I'm trying to get more fit and more toned. And some days I look at myself and I say, man, I'm still not looking where I want to be. And my son says, no, Dad, you don't realize how far you've come. Look how far you've come.
Right,
You know,
right, right.
and
You
so
just
you have,
want to be your best too. That's
yeah.
I respect.
And I keep pushing, and I think that's going to be my goal to keep going. Is like I may not ever look like those guys ever, but that keeps me going. It keeps me in the game and keep me motivated. And then my son, he's a huge fitness person, so he keeps me going on the days that I may seem like I'm a little laxed. He'll be like, "Come on, Dad, we're going. We got to go." And so he keeps me in the game because he's home now. He's had to take a break from college, and so right now he's at home. He's working. He's saving money. So, but he works out almost every day, and so he's like, "Come on, Dad, we're going. You got to go. You got to go." And he keeps me motivated, and he
Yeah.
really helps me out. And but my favorite exercise routine right now, I would have to say my go-to is walking, and it's really become a lifestyle for me, and it really helps with the mental side of things. It clears my mind, from the mental health side of things. If I have any issues throughout the day, may have caused me anxiety or anything like that. All those things go away once I'm engaged in some form of exercise. And I'm seeing results. I mean, I've gone from like a 3XL and a really big waist. I mean, I think at one time I was wearing like a 54 or 56 waist. I'm now in like about a 40 waist, and I'm wearing XL shirts. So, if that tells you
Yeah.
how big of a guy I was to, where I'm at now. So, but
Awesome.
yeah, so just being mindful of my dietary choices, trying to incorporate more fruits and vegetables. If I'm going to eat a piece of some sort of protein or meat, I'm trying to opt for like grilled chicken, things like that, pork chops sometimes. I try to eat like more white meat than I do red meat. So, because for years I just really ate and consumed a lot of red meat. So I'm trying
Well,
to
you live in
do,
Texas. Texas got some
yeah,
of the best red meat, so I know you was going off.
yeah, yeah,
And
and it's tough sometimes because you will go past the barbecue place and see
right.
some good brisket or whatever they got going on, ribs and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh man, but it's just those things are now treats. Like if I'm gonna do that, that's like a one time thing, and then I might go another 2 weeks before I even try to eat something else like that again. Just being mindful of my choices.
That makes
John,
a
let me
lot
ask
of
you
sense.
a question real quick.
Okay.
That transition that you had from how you were eating and exercising or not exercising at all to when you started, doing it, that was, if I'm not mistaken, you said before your transplant, right?
Yeah, that was before transplant. But I started doing all the exercise routine 6 months before I experienced kidney failure. But what happened was the damage had already been done to my kidneys from the diabetes and hypertension being out of control for so many years. I was already in kidney failure, or my stage of kidney disease was probably around stage 4 already, and so at that point, so I had already done damage to my kidneys, and then I realized I wasn't dropping any weight, Philip. I was just kind of maintaining,
Mm-hmm.
after I did the exercise. And I started telling my wife, I said, you know what? I'm not really losing any weight anymore. I'm kind of just maintaining, and I don't know why. And then we found out, like I said, my legs started, just turning into cankles. I had, ballooning and swelling of the legs, and even my upper thighs. My thighs were getting larger, and then before I knew it, I was in the emergency room with emergency kidney failure. So
And the
That's
reason
that's
why I asked
that's
that
something.
question is because, uh, I try to get people, or we on the show, try to get people to understand the importance of making that transition happen earlier rather than later. So,
sure.
not wait until after you have your transplant to want to change how you eat or change how you exercise, and things of that nature. It's
No, that's a good
uh,
point.
my
That's a
whole
good
thing
point.
is, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say at my dialysis center, they were asking me because they knew I kind of had a exercise routine before I went into kidney failure. So they encouraged me that once I started feeling better to get back out there and start working out. And that had a lot to do with me being transplant ready, was incorporating that exercise routine, because my labs were excellent, and I really contribute the following the renal diet as closely as possible as I could, and then incorporating the exercise routine that I had. It really helped me be transplant ready. So when the call came, I was ready. There were no setbacks with my heart or anything like that, and it really helped my labs to be ready and ready to go. That way, when the call came, I was ready to go. So it's a great point,
Oh,
Philip.
I'm
yeah, that's
glad
a
you
really
you
great point.
mentioned the word transplant ready, because that's very important for people to hear and understand what transplant ready means. Because when you're transplant ready, like Jonathan said, when he gets that call, the call is for him. It's not one of those, mistakes or anything like that. It's, hey, get your go bag. We need you to get here so we can do this transplant and keep going. When there's been a number of people who were not transplant ready by the time it got to that call, and they might have gotten a call, but then gotten a call 20, 30 minutes later, like, hey, we just reviewed your labs and these, and this and that, and yeah,
Yeah,
we just don't feel like, this is the best one for you. When you could have been in the
yeah,
shape that you needed to be in, and that call could have been for you, to get that kidney or liver or whatever organ is that you're looking for, waiting on. Um, so I'm just gonna say it's kind of where I might have a question for Kyle later, but um, put yourselves in a position to be ready and accessible. So when they call you, all you have to do is grab that bag that should be by the door. Anyways, once you get on the list, your bag should be packed. I don't care if
right.
it's day one, day 1500. You should have a bag next to the front door. So when they call, all you gotta do is jump in the shower, get dressed, and walk out the house.
Yeah,
So transplant ready is very important. Make sure you put yourselves in that position, exercising correctly, eating the way you need to, any of those things like that, especially when it comes to transplant ready isn't just physical or nutritional. It also includes, if you're one of those people who have to travel to get to your transplant center, facility, because like, I mean, I'm not too far from UCLA, but if I lived in like San Diego, and I'm listed on UCLA, I need to make sure I have somewhere to stay and everything like that when that happens. So that's what transplant ready means is, making sure that everything is lined up in a row and ready for you. Nothing should be able to get in your way when that call comes through.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jonathan.
I was just agreeing with you.
Um, I want to I want to talk to you, both of you guys right now about how did you guys get together with Kidney Conversations? Let's talk about
Kyle, you want to talk a little bit about it?
It was technically your idea. So
Well, I'll just quickly say this. Kyle reached out to me, a little over a year ago, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to say shout out to Kyle for reaching out to me, because when Kyle reached out to me, I was in the beginning stages of Hope with Jonathan. And he didn't know me and I didn't know him. And I could have been the biggest jerk in the world. He didn't know. But he reached out to me anyway. And it took a lot of guts to reach out to a stranger, and he said, hey, man, I like what you're doing, and I'd like to, somehow collaborate with you. And we started collaborating with the Warrior of the Month that me and Kyle was doing with KWM, which is Kidney Warrior merch. And they had this, the Warrior had to submit their story, and basically, we would basically pick a warrior, and they would get an interview on our show. And we interviewed, 3 or 4 on our show from that collaboration. But later on, we had been discussing about ideals of how to kind of collaborate and kind of talk about kidney disease. And we wanted to make, like short videos that would maybe draw the eye and attention to the kidney disease and kidney disease awareness, and just talk about all kind of different aspects of it. And so we came up with the idea of kidney conversations. It's just basically a series that will bring forth, more education and just talk about kidney disease. And Kyle, if you have anything to add to that, please jump in.
No.
I hope you guys are talking about this, the being a caregiver also, because that's a big part that a lot of times we fail to address. So
Yeah.
I hope Cal was bringing that area, that part of the
So
picture.
right now, I guess you could say it's in the early stages of kidney conversations, and it was started as, I mean, I think we grew it into a bigger idea than what we really originally planned on doing. It was just supposed to be a series of videos with some social media posts once a week. Now we're into a website, kidneyconversations.info, that has blogs. And one thing I try and do with some of the blogs is bring kidney disease into layman's terms. So let's take all that medical mumbo jumbo out of it, and let's make it in a way that people can understand. One of the ones we did was what is kidney disease, and just a layman's term, it's like a funnel. If you put some rocks in the funnel, it gets clogged up. It's not kidney stones, but the filtration of that liquid you're putting through. So we try and make people understand in a different manner than, you know, the medical way of doing things. And we pick a topic every week. So this coming week will be kidney disease fatigue, if I'm right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
making someone else understand kind of what kidney disease fatigue is, and the person who's not a kidney warrior, it's like having the flu, but all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So we're trying to make education not just inside the kidney community, but outside also.
Yeah.
So someone can try and understand. We've hit the main topic. We're hitting the main topics right now. And yes, caregiving, but breaking down each topic of kidney disease over a period of time. So some of the smaller areas, like one of the ones that we will hit is like how much water is in a cucumber. Well, when the question is what's your water intake? Well, let's break that down. Every time you eat watermelon or fruit, so not everyone, the education's not coming from the smaller aspects of life, the other little things that we have to watch. So we can also educate the kidney warrior on something smaller and break it down into smaller pieces, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
it's just a great way for us to be able to expand on topics. And I like your ideal about the care partner, caregiver. That could be a series all in itself. And there's a lot of content with. So we have some great stuff coming. I'm running polls as well. The fatigue video actually came from an idea that I had about running a poll on Facebook, and the number one symptom that people were voting for that they had when they started experiencing kidney disease symptoms was fatigue. And so I got more votes for fatigue than anything else. And so, that's why we chose to do a video on kidney disease and fatigue, based upon, that poll, because it seemed like the result of the poll was yielding that fatigue was one of the most common, I guess, symptoms of kidney disease. I would have thought may have been swelling or something else, but it wasn't. It was actually chronic fatigue, and so that's why we chose that for our next video.
I definitely can see the fatigue because
Yeah.
when it can just, it seems like it's when it's like that, it's like all the time. It's like
Yeah.
never ending. You
Yeah.
can ask anybody who's going through that challenge. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Fellas, it's been awesome. I have no more questions. I'm gonna let Phil do his thing. Cal, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Jonathan, you and I, we always talk to each other about exercise and everything because I
Absolutely.
like exercising just a little bit every now and
Absolutely.
then.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Phil. Do your thing.
Well, first off, Mr. Cook probably got like 8 more questions on that pad, but we try to
I do
go
be
too
having
slowly.
them.
We,
We only got so much time. We have to interview
right.
these guys again. They're very interesting, and I like talking to them. I can't get all my questions in, fellas, because I could go deeper to every aspect, especially with the kidney
Absolutely.
conversations, and
Absolutely.
also being a caregiver, because I'm fully big on that right now because I feel right now that topic is not getting addressed fully.
Yeah.
And what Cal is doing is awesome. A lot of times we look at men like, oh, men got to be tough. But hey, he's doing what he got to do to keep the family progressing. And that's
Exactly.
wonderful, man. And that's
Yeah.
beautiful. I got to give my hat off to you.
Absolutely. No, you guys have us back anytime. I'll be more than glad to come and do an interview with you guys. So
Cool.
anytime.
Oh, definitely. We gonna be talking to each other and seeing each other a lot in the next couple of weeks. But
That's right.
Again, just kind of to say thank you again, like Mr. Cook. We appreciate you both coming on. We just both of you have been
Absolutely.
supportive of the show and what we're doing with the second chance, and we just kind of wanted to show that support as well to get Kidney Conversations, Hope with Jonathan, Kidney Warrior merch out there, be seen, be heard, and known about as well. That it's just kind of how I've been before y'all. I've told Jonathan this, but when I first started, Jonathan was one person I actually looked up. I still look up to him as a podcaster, as an advocate. Because Jonathan started like about 4 or 5, about 6, 7 months before me, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
somewhere around there. So he was already kind of, in it and dealing with some things, and so he never hesitated when I contacted him in the very beginning to help out and answer any questions and things like that. And I just kind of wanted him to know that I appreciate that because he's a big part of a second chance and where it's gotten to at this point. So Kyle as well, even as a caregiver, and myself and because we like to give information, but we like to take in information as well. So to be able to have a conversation with somebody like you to get, to take in this information from a caregiver side. We've had a number of caregivers on the show that are taking care of, kidney patients, liver patients, heart patients, things of that nature. But like Mr. Cook said in the very, very beginning when we first joined the show, you line up 20 people, 20 different people, you're gonna get 20 different stories. They'll never be the same. You might end up at the same result, but those turns and avenues and streets that you go down are gonna be completely different than the person standing next to you. So it's always a pleasure to have two wonderful people like yourselves come on and be willing to be open and tell your stories and stuff like that. So definitely, if you watch us now in the future, go check out Kidney Conversations. Can you repeat their website one more time for Kidney Conversations?
It's kidneyconversations.info, info.
Yeah.
Okay, and then also, is Kidney Warrior merch KWM or is it spelled out Kidney Warrior merch?
No, it's spelled out Kidney Warrior merch. KWM is too expensive to buy.
I know that's right.
I got nothing to say about it. And also Hope with Jonathan. You're .com, right? HopeWithJonathan.com.
Yeah, HopeWithJonathan.com. Check us out on YouTube, and you can find everything over there at the website. So if you check out the website, you can follow us across our social media platforms that we have. Right now, we're really trying to push our content on YouTube, so we would definitely appreciate your support by just subscribing to our free content that we have. And Philip, I just want to say, man, it's been a pleasure to help you out in any way that I can. And you've been a real blessing to me, and I do appreciate you looking up to me. But hey, man, I'm watching you grow, and I'm looking up to you now because you're really growing and you're doing well. And it's really nice to see you and Tafaro. You got great chemistry on this podcast, and it's really great to see you guys grow. And I'm proud to be a part of the what we're doing in the kidney community, fixing to have this conference on dialysis, which is going to be amazing. Got a lot of great people coming on that conference. So it's incredible to work with you, man. It's a pleasure.
I appreciate that 100. Appreciate it a lot. You know,
Yeah.
it's been great being able to work with even Kyle. You know, we've had some small conversations here and there about some things, so he's definitely been helpful as well.
Yep.
You know, if I need help with anything, I know I can always go to the farm because he got an answer for everything. So and he's been doing
Yep.
this kidney thing a little bit longer than I have, so he got a little bit more information up in that noggin up there. So sometimes I'm like, hey man, what you think about this? And I know you get tired of it sometimes, but I'm a person that likes to ask questions, especially now. You know, after I didn't ask the questions I probably should have asked in class, right?
Right.
Um,
I, I
so
mean,
again, I appreciate you all. 100% for your time, your effort, your support. It is definitely helpful, especially doing something like this. So, but last thing, I know some people may be noticing some choppiness and lagging. That will be over as of tomorrow because I'm switching from StreamYard to Restream, so we won't have this hopefully lagging problem for a while or ever again. So you'll be seeing some different things pop up. You'll be like, I didn't notice that before, yeah, because it wasn't there before. It wasn't there until I made this good old switch. So tomorrow when we do Let's Talk, we'll be on coming from Restream instead of StreamYard. I'll be officially ending that today. I've already started the StreamYard yesterday, so um, hopefully, we don't have to deal with this problem anymore of the lagging and things of that nature. So, if you watched it live, thank you for your love and your support. Thanks for sticking around with us and watching and getting the story of these two wonderful gentlemen. If you're watching in the future, thanks for watching. When in your spare time and supporting the Second Chance. Definitely, if you have not yet, go subscribe. Go subscribe to everybody that's on here. Kidney Care Coaches, Hope Jonathan, Kidney Warrior Merch, a Second Chance. Just y'all got time. It's only 4 clicks. I got all day, and it's Super Bowl Sunday, so y'all ain't gonna do nothing for the next 2 hours before this game start. So you might as well go spend some time subscribing to people. So, but again, thank you very much. We appreciate your love and support, and we'll see you tomorrow morning.